how cannabis saved my life. I'm going to be doing a series of videos, and it's going to basically be describing what I've went through my experience with a rare platelet disease, idiopathic thrombocytopenia platelet disease. It's an immune system disease. It's basically the same as if you were dying of AIDS or leukemia or lupus or something along that lines that weakens your immune system. And basically what was happening in my situation is my body, for some reason, and they don't know why, that's where idiopathic comes in, my body was killing my own platelets in my blood. So it got me down to dangerous levels, to the point where I had to be taken to the hospital, put in intensive care, and I stayed in there for a couple weeks until they could get me stabilized through a series of blood transfusions and high dosages of steroids. Were they able to get my platelet levels up to where I was out of the danger zone. This entire series of videos is going to be talking about my experiences not only with idiopathic thrombocytopenia platelet disease and how I was able to overcome it with the use of cannabis oil, everything that led up to now in my life, and mainly what's going on right now in my life, and hopefully into the future. We're going to take you on the journey with us. I am going to have to backtrack, so I'm just going to give you a short version of what happened to me 10 years ago. It's going on 11 years now. I went with the conventional medicine, mainstream medicine, for about a year and a half. It was almost 2 years. Just to give you an idea of what I was going through, this was my daily dosages of narcotics that they had me on. Shortly after I left the hospital, they just started adding pills to my life. I would go in and complain that I was having suicidal thoughts, so they'd give me another pill to take, and then I would go in and say that wasn't working, so they would add another pill on top of that pill. So there's all kinds of fun in this bag right here. I guess you could say I keep this as a reminder of where I come from and what I overcome. I really have a place in my heart for people that are on this type of drug. I guess it's not a fun experience. We have several people, countless people every day committing suicide over narcotics, and especially our veterans out there that come back from war with post-traumatic stress, and they get them on all these drugs, and several of them take their life each and every day. And it's kind of, I feel like it's my mission, seeing as I had to overcome this, to get the word out there and basically an advocate for the way that I overcome this. And how did I overcome this? I simply started taking cannabis oil each and every day. And I did this for a couple years, but it was fast acting. Like, I'm talking within a week, I was able to get my life back together. I wasn't working. I wasn't unable to work, seeing as it was dangerous for me to work because of my low platelet levels. I had to brush my teeth with my finger. I couldn't shave. I had to sell everything I owned. And I was preparing to die, basically. I had two boys that I was raising at the time, my sons, and a lot of it I don't remember, and I'm sure it's because of this right here. But I do remember when I come across this, and it was on a YouTube video, Run from the Cure, the Rick Simpson story. I advise that you just take a little bit of time out of your day and get on YouTube and punch in Run from the Cure, the Rick Simpson story, and you'll find out why I decided to take this, and whether it was placebo for me deciding that this was going to work regardless because of what I seen in the video and all the evidence that he had presented. I know that it is probably a combination. Cannabis strengthens your immune system. That's why it works for so many different debilitating diseases, glaucoma, Crohn's, you name it. You can use it topically for psoriasis and for pain. I've got several patients that I've helped over the last 10 years from anything from stage 4 cancer. I work with quite a few amputees. We've learned how to make real strong oils for them to put on their nubs so that they have pain relief in that area, especially those that have amputated legs and have to walk on them. It's very irritating. And they really don't present them with the proper equipment most of the time. It's very expensive. So it's one of my goals is to raise money for some of these veterans that they're just not getting the proper treatment that they need. So later on in a series of videos, I'm going to basically give you a detailed version of what I experienced, and maybe I can even show you some clips of the previous businesses I owned, the business that I had to sell, some of the other things that were going on in my life even before I come down with this disease. I'd like to walk you through it. It may not be interesting to you, but it's definitely something that I think it'd be interesting to enough people to follow along. The main reason I want to get going on this video is because I'd like to do a series on this book, Cracking the Flourishing Code. And this book has been one of the most inspirational reads that I've ever come across. And I was, for that 2 years stuck in that apartment, I did a lot of reading, a lot of research, thousands of hours on the internet, and just anything and everything, including my immune system and other natural cures that may help me. That's how I come across the Rick Simpson story. But this book and the man who wrote it has been a big inspiration in my life. I mean, it's a rare opportunity that I have here, and I want to basically share this with the rest of the world. And this book is written on unconventional thinkers. What is an unconventional thinker? An unconventional thinker is somebody that they can read trends, they can see what may happen in the future, they can put different things together that don't necessarily work together and make them work. I've been doing this my entire life. I was in the automotive industry before I was tragically forced into the cannabis industry, which here in Michigan, it's been a blessing for our state. I believe it's what's kept our state alive and well, and now it's changing again, and we're going to be adding excise tax and licensing and everything that more people can benefit, creating several jobs, and we'll see how it works out. And the most important thing for me, though, is that I connected with this man, Samuel P. Black III is the author of this book, and he's also authored several other books that you can get online to flourishingsummit.com and find out more about him and his success. He's an extremely successful man. He owns biodiesel factories. He owns several companies, including one of the largest companies in insurance companies in Pennsylvania, Black Insurance Group, Hero BX. One of several of his biodiesel factories. I believe he has 2 of them at the time, and he may be buying another one or building another one. He's an amazing man because he's looking at our world the way it is now, and he's seeing that there needs to be change. And that's what this book is all about, is the changes that need to be made. And in his opinion, and I'll read it off the back cover. Right now, the world is in dire need of unconventional thinkers. Conventional thinking has created enormous problems and issues that only unconventional thinkers will be able to address. We need cutting-edge businesses and organizations, new technology, and new approaches. And the book has really touched my heart because my whole life I've been an unconventional thinker. You're born an unconventional thinker. I think there's, on a scale, there's way more conventional thinkers out there than there are unconventional thinkers. So for 2 unconventional thinkers to hook up, and especially in this alternative cannabis business, this new industry that's at the ground level at this time and just starting to break through. You can't go on YouTube anymore without finding some video on how, a child with epilepsy or, take a tincture under his tongue and eliminate his seizures altogether, or even young children with autism that can break out of their autistic shell and start talking and going to school and living a normal life. It's just amazing. And I know that you've seen a lot of these clips already and different posts that explain this. Even like Dr. Sanjay Gupta did a really nice little mini-series on, how cannabis is beneficial, and he's 100% backing it up now. There's so much information out there. It doesn't take long. Even though cannabis is not addictive, learning about it is addictive. And that's part of our mission. Our mission is education. It's bringing people back to what is real and what is real medicine, basically. And they can't hold the lie back anymore. It's too much evidence out there. But Samuel P. Black has been a big inspiration in my life. And I've actually only met him in person twice, and had one phone conference with him. So I don't get to talk to him. He's an extremely busy man. He's in his 70s, and I'm sure that he's got a lot to do. And he has a big crew that works, his management company that takes care of his businesses, and he's in the real estate, you name it. He's very successful. Cracking the Flourishing Code has been very, very helpful in my life. I believe that no matter what happens from this point on, through this book, I'll be able to keep my mind straight and focus and understand how I think, and I'll be able to hopefully relay my thinking to conventional thinkers to get them to understand what they can't see. That's what happens a lot of times. I've noticed that in business. I've been a marketing agent in the past for the automotive industry, and I've owned my own companies, and I've taken companies from zero to multi-million dollar companies in record time. I would go into any collision repair facility, and my pitch was, I can double your sales in 6 months, and I can increase your gross profits by double. So that was like how I got in, and I always worked for a lower wage and added a commission on there so that I could get paid once I did what I said I was going to do, and I'd done it several times. There's facilities all over Michigan here, throughout mid-Michigan, northern Michigan, that I've worked at and I've owned. I used to buy and sell collision repair shops in my younger years when that was actually an option back in the early 90s. A couple paragraphs and some sentences that really just to kick this off so that you know where I'm coming from. And the introduction to this book, Cracking the Flourishing Code, starts out with, this book was written for those of you who are unconventional thinkers. I remember reading that. I actually didn't even really understand, I guess, what an unconventional thinker was. I just thought, I called it thinking outside of the box. Well, you get in a group of people sometimes and you'll be thinking outside the box, and you have everybody just standing there looking at you like, what's he talking about? That's not possible. That's never been done before. We can't do that. That's not written down anywhere. There's no book to study that. That's what an unconventional thinker does. I guess you could say, not only a scientist, but like Benjamin Franklin, I guess, would be an unconventional thinker. Nikola Tesla would be considered an unconventional thinker. A lot of unconventional thinkers, unfortunately, in this world go completely unnoticed because they get so sick of trying to explain what needs to be done and what needs to happen, and then no one will listen to them. So eventually they just clam up into a shell and disappear, and we don't get to benefit from their thinking. So the goal is in our future, the way things are going in this world, and we know there's a lot of good things happening. I believe a lot more people are becoming conscious and learning how to live in the now and come out of conventional thinking. But it's something you're born with. So if you're not an unconventional thinker, if you are, you need to get this book right away, as quick as you can. If you're not, you need to get it so you can understand those who are and how they operate, in case a family member or a friend, or maybe you have an employee that's an unconventional thinker. You can understand how he thinks, and you can start to pay more attention once you read this book and understand how unconventional thinkers work, so that you don't put them in the corner. I'd like to read this next paragraph. It's like It starts out, unconventional thinkers are basically people who see things others don't see. They can visualize possibilities that haven't taken form yet. They can see the bigger picture. While most people only see what's right in front of them, unconventional thinkers can see where circumstances and trends are leading us, and they can imagine what will be needed for the future that is unfolding. So that's the basic description of what an unconventional thinker is. I refer to this book every day. I've got it all marked up continuously. Got a new copy coming, but it's very inexpensive. You can go on to Amazon. It's only $13. I think I got paid $13.95 or something for this on Amazon. And not only this book, but he's authored a couple books. A couple on alternative energy. I know that, and what is your roadblock to fulfillment? This is very important. And this book I suggest for anybody. If you've had a rough life in the past, like I know my biological dad was killed when I was 1 year old. So I was a fatherless child for a while, and then I had to deal with stepdad and all that good stuff. And that's a whole nother story. But this is an excellent book, and I would say that you should probably order this if you have some deep-seated, things that you might have locked up from your past that you can let go of. This is an excellent book for that. It teaches you, spirituality and how to overcome some of them issues. I would like to just read a couple more sentences, and that'll be it. And we'll start working on our second video. Entrepreneurs, especially those who are unconventional thinkers, do not take the beaten path. They may introduce something totally new or combine existing products or ideas in unique and creative ways. So that's another benefit to being an unconventional thinker. There doesn't need to be a path laid out. The path is in your mind, the trends, the information that you put together, the scenarios, you got to gather all this information in your mind, and then you just lay out a new way to do something. It's not like we're seeing the future like a psychic or anything like that. It's more like being able to compile a lot of information and think so far out of the box and into the future that most people are unable to do this. And if you know me personally, you've known that I've done a few things out there that were way out of the box. Some of them worked and some of them didn't, but the ones that did, I was very successful. And this next paragraph will explain that. Of course, one of our best and most significant teachers is failure. Whenever we make a mistake or misstep, whenever we fall flat or fall short, whenever we give it our best shot and miss the mark, we have created an incredible opportunity to learn. And I tell you what, I've learned more from my mistakes and more from, horrific times like my debilitating disease at the time. I've learned more from the hard times than I have ever had in my successes. I mean, obviously, we love success, and it's does lift our spirits, and it really gets my unconventional juices flowing when I start seeing something come together. But I learn the most when I make a mistake. And this happens to a lot of us unconventional thinkers. Let me just read it. An undeveloped, unconventional thinker will find himself or herself frustrated and unfulfilled by either trying to fit in with his conventional peers or constantly fighting a losing battle against the man or the system. Fighting against something doesn't get you nearly as far as fighting for something. So that's so true. It feels like sometimes my whole life I've been fighting against the system or fighting against something, and I know it just doesn't get you very far. I would much rather fight for the right to provide cannabis in a safe and efficient way for patients in an educational way, rather fight that battle than I would fight a partner or the bank or the IRS or somebody, a fight that basically is not going to get you anywhere except just a fight. What we're going to do in the future is, as everybody orders one of these books and shares this video, like and share it, and we're going to be giving away some prizes and bonuses. I'm not getting anything for the sale of this book at all. This is just going to be part of our series here, so that we can show everybody what it's like when two unconventional thinkers come together and set their minds on a goal. I have a holding company with like 100 people that stood behind me to make this dream come true, mostly patients I had helped in the past, and friends and family, and we got outside investors, out-of-state investors, people that just wanted to, get their fingers into the cannabis industry in a good way for a good purpose and a good reason, and seeing the dream. Education first, patient first, and then the money will come. That's my motto, and that's how I've been living for the last 10 years. Well, I'm still waiting for the money to come, but definitely educated a lot of people, helped thousands of patients. A lot of people get off their narcotics. So if you order a copy of this book and just share and like this video, and I'll enter you into a drawing. We're going to be giving away shares to United We Stand. I'm going to be giving 3 people $1,000 worth of shares, and you get a share certificate and your name, and you'll be written into the share book. And it's United We Stand is basically a holding company that is several cannabis-based companies surrounding the cannabis business, all the way from a cafe to a technical training facility to a museum to a magazine. I mean, there's several different companies that we've got underneath the umbrella, and it's going to be an exciting adventure. It's going to be exciting times. We really need a change in our world. We need to show more love. We need to learn how to live in the now. This book and Mr. Black's been a big inspiration to me. First time that I met Mr. Black, he flew his private jet into Bishop here, and then he came and took a look at my facility, and I walked him through and showed him everything that we had planned, and he really liked the idea enough to set up an appointment so we could go to his corporate offices out in Erie, Pennsylvania. A beautiful, beautiful glass building, a very nice setting right on the lake. Is this really, I was in awe basically that I even had this opportunity. And then we went up a few levels, and we're in this conference room with this whole crew sitting around, and this attorneys and accountants and project managers and his whole crew that runs his businesses for him. And I have nothing scripted, so these videos are going to be, and I'm not a professional at this, they're going to be very, I don't know, kind of janky, I guess, but regardless, the information is what's important here in the purpose. So I give him my presentation and show him what we need to do, and how all the different businesses are going to work together. And he stood up and he said, "Buy shares in this man's company." That was his advice to his crew, and it was such a blessing to me to hear them words come out of his mouth, because he's got more business experience in his pinky than all of us in that room combined had. It was just an amazing feeling to see somebody that, and it of course takes an unconventional thinker to even see what I was talking about. So we're going to be going through our experience and our journey, using this book as our basis of information. It's going to be exciting. I'm sure there's going to be hard times. There's going to be good times. We've already been working together for 9 months, and there's been lows and highs, and it's very nerve-wracking here in Michigan with the laws changing continuously, but we're gonna stick in there, and we're gonna give it our best shot. And I think the world needs to know what this book, the information that's in this book, and how this works out, how this partnership works out between two unconventional thinkers going after the same goal. And I appreciate you watching this, and stay tuned. In the next video, we're going to present, our giveaway. So share and like this, and you'll definitely be put in the drawing. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.